Uh, it's been a long time, uh, and I come for you today, just talking about a lot of things that's on my heart since the everything that's going on as far as in the protests and the marching and things of that nature. I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the agendas that certain organizations may have, or the agendas that certain individuals or people may have. And I'm going to tie in some of the things that I have been going through while working with a variety of different organizations. And if you don't know what I do, I'm a case manager and I help the homeless people get housing. But the organization that I work for is a major organization, and it's a big organization, just like a lot of the major organizations that have been somewhat a part of the protest and have been somewhat a part of the things that they may feel are uh, that they are in disagreements about. The things what I mentioned when I say the agenda of people and the agenda of corporations, and I'm going to tie in another snippet of information that I want to give to you that ties in with that as well. When you're talking about organizations or corporations, me personally, I always look at the bigger picture, meaning that when I look at the bigger picture and those who have saw some of these broadcasts, when I say I look at the bigger pictures because I think outside of the box. I'm thinking about things from an economical standpoint. That's what I mean when I say I think outside of the box, and I'm going to tie that in with a few of the corporations that may have a silent agenda and maybe looking at something other than what we are protesting about and the people of color are against, as far as in the police brutalities, um, the killing of people of color by polices, and a bunch of the atrocities that's going on. I'm gonna also speak about the hangings that's all of a sudden going on, the lynchings that's all of a sudden going on. And if you think with a conscious mind and you think back before the times that we're going through right now, it wasn't nobody getting hung from no tree and people found lynched and everything. So, but let me just talk about one thing at a time. First thing I want to talk about the silent agenda, and I'm going to give you an example. I work for a big organization, and the organization was like, Chauncey, are you gonna? We're gonna march. We're gonna protest. Are you gonna march and are you gonna protest with us or whatever? And I'm like, no. Well, let me take that back. A colleague asked me, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not protesting. I'm not doing anything with that because I think outside the box. I don't know what the agenda of a corporation is. I know what may be the agenda of my people who are out there protesting, just like I know the agenda, what my agenda may be. But when somebody asks me from a corporation, not saying that that corporation might not have some genuine pretense of what may be going on out in the streets and that of a people, but I think about the history or the historical standpoint before all of this started happening and the things that they were doing to contribute to people of color and people of ethnicity before this happened. So I'm thinking like, were they contributing before these things happening? Was they doing something that would be beneficial to a cause of people of color, knowing that we're the ones who have been going through the most demeaning things or the most things as far as in losing our brothers and sisters on a regular basis. So let me get back to what the colleague asked me. She was like, Chauncey, are you gonna protest? And I'm like, no. And I was like, she was looking at me, gave me a strange look, and she was like, I know she was questioning her mind, why would I not protest when so many things are going on right now? But the thought in my mind is, If I'm going to protest, if I'm going to stand for my people, I don't need a corporation behind me. I don't need no logos or what job description that I have and what company I work for and everything like that. So I'm not going to do that. So the reason I'm putting this information out there is because you need to look outside of the box and ask yourself, do the people who are all of a sudden protesting for our rights and the things they're doing, and do they have something more to gain than what we're actually able to see at this particular time? Are they making it seem like they're for the cause of black people and people of color because that's the end thing to do? Because a lot of times that's what a lot of organizations and corporations do. I'm gonna tell you why they're doing it. It's because, do you know that we're the biggest consumers of everything, but the things that we own are a minute percentage. So one thing a young lady said on Facebook one time, she said that the marches are entirely different when the people are thinking that that black money might leave their company or their pocket. So now, therefore, they're protesting. They want to make it seem like they're doing the end thing to do for our rights and everything of that nature. But I wanted to put the information out there because I want you to also think like that, and not think like that on a negative kind of tone, but just think like that, that the possibility may exist. How do I go into a scenario? I always go into a scenario with a question mark of what may exist. I'm not just looking at the cover page. I'm looking for the things that may be hidden. I'm gonna give you an example. When I was in prison, I used to read a lot of books. I'm gonna give you 2 books that would definitely expose the things of corporations and people. The first book is called The Art of War. That's a very prolific book as far as in giving a person knowledge to look outside of the box. Another book is The 48 Laws of Power. So with me being able to read those types of books and understand that a picture is not always as what it seems, it makes me look at things entirely different. And I want you to look at things entirely different. I want you to see or think that there may be a hidden agenda of people who are marching with you. Not to say that that's exact and that is entirely the truth, but I want you to have that question mark. So if the hands are exposed and it shows something entirely opposite of what you thought it initially would be, then you already know what it is. So you like, it is what it is, because I already saw that 1,000 miles away. It's like a chess move, and a chess player, when he sees a person moves his pawn or moves this, and I'm not a chess player, but I'm an ideal thinker, it lets a person know what they can expect or what may be to come. It's just like another thing I want to talk about, because I don't want to give too much information at one time, but I do want to give the information to the masses of our brothers and sisters, so they won't fall, like they say in the Nation of Islam, they won't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, or they won't fall or be a bamboozle or hoodwink or things of that nature, or whatever terminology that you may use. I just want you to think on the accord so that we can get ahead. For example, you have all these mass lynchings. The brother was on the radio talking about it today. You've had 6 lynchings within 60 days. If you ask yourself, before this started happening, the protests and all of these things that we're going through as a people of color, when have you seen somebody lynch themselves? And then the people talking about, well, it was suicide. When the heck have you ever seen a young lady just 17 years old, and I believe California, just committed suicide? When have you ever seen these types of things happen since the days when they was hanging strange fruit from the tree from way back in the days? When have you ever seen such consistency in our brothers and sisters hanging themselves, and the people who are in places of authority who can deem, is it some foul play or things of that nature, saying that the brother or sister just hung themselves? I want you to question that. The reason I want you to question that is because as we unify with one another, we have to be aware of our surroundings. We have to be aware of everything that we interact with and come into contact with. Meaning, even if I have a disagreement or I don't know these people or whatever, I want you to be aware of the possibilities that this person may be the person who is responsible for those lynchings. I want you to have in your mind that this may be the person who knows information about those lynchings. Because if we're going to act out, we have to act out in a vengeance that makes us protect our brothers and sisters from the foul plays and the things that may be at play with what's going on. Because if you're a conscious person and you're a knowledgeable person, you know, if you look at a historical standpoint and the things before what's ever happening now, you ain't never seen no people lynching at 6, 7 people lynching themselves within 60 days. We ain't have this happen. And for the people to say, well, this is justifiable, the person committed suicide, well, that can't be accurate. That can't be correct. That can't be exact. Because one thing about history, that's what we go off of history. We go off, ain't nobody been lynched for the most part. I'm talking about inconsistent. You don't have those races, and you don't have those people who done been like in colleges and doing all kind of ignorant and things of stupidity and things of that nature. But I'm talking about on a consistent basis where you have all people of color and people who are of every shade, and they just saying that it was no foul play. I'm talking about this 2020. When have you came across people just hanging themselves onto my back to back? So I'm putting the information out there because I want you to be aware, because while we're protesting, I want you to always be aware of your surroundings. It's just like a street dude. When a street dude comes up in the street, even though he has left the street, every time he's pulling up in his car, every time he gets out of his car, he's aware, for the most part, of his surroundings. As a people, I want us to be aware of our surroundings. I want us to know that some people may have a hidden agenda. I want us to know all of those pieces of information that I have given you, because I feel in my heart that that is the right thing to do, because I don't have to know you to see that if I think it's some foul play involved in somebody trying to kidnap my brother or kidnap my sister and do some harm to them, I ain't asking no question. I'm coming in full throttle and I'm gonna get to the bottom of it, and then when you cop the deuces, I'm up in your grill and ain't no more question. And I deal with the consequences after it. And I want you to have that same mindset, because in these days and times, with us being conscious and with us seeing all of the things that have been on a consistent, like I say, on a consistent, I don't want to sound too repetitive, but on a consistent basis that's been happening back to back, we gotta guard our grill. We gotta guard our brothers and sisters, especially our sisters. We gotta guard our young community. We gotta guard everybody who's standing with that commonality of what we stand for, and not just what we stand for, but for the people who may not be in a position to stand up for themselves. Let me repeat that. We got to be in a position to not only protect ourselves, but stand up for those who may not be in a position to stand up for themselves. Because you can't be a man and call yourself a man and an ideal man if you don't stand for the cause, meaning that the cause can be life or death. It's just like for my family. When I picked up the torch, I'm willing to live and die for my family. When I picked up the torch and I know that my homeboys was in the penitentiary and they willing to die and live for me, I'm willing to die and live for them. Because I know they think along the same mindset that I think on. So it's not going to be any questions asked. But I just want to give this information because I've been a little bit slack in what I have been supposed to put out the information, because I've been going through a couple of things and nothing major. But regardless of what I'm going through, I'm going to always put this information out about my people and the things that we need to know. And anybody who knows me, they'll tell you, listen, man, I stand for the cause. I ain't putting on no shirts and marching because the corporation want me to march. I'm not on none of that. I'm going to march with my people because I want to march, and I'm going to march with the people who I have a likelihood of marching with, because I know we have that commonality. Just know I love you and I appreciate you, and I want you to always just be conscious. Salute, as always.